Hey everyone, welcome to this little informal review of Batman Arkham Knight for the PlayStation 4. I just literally finished up my stream of completing the main story of the game. And anyway, I want to do kind of an informal review. There will be some spoiler territory. I'm going to keep that towards the end of the video as much as possible. I do want to get into some spoiler stuff, but that'll be after I kind of give my initial thoughts. Batman Arkham Knight was one of my top 3 anticipated games of 2015. Going into the year, I knew I wanted Batman, Metal Gear, and Witcher 3. And I loved every second of Witcher 3. Now, it's a very, very long game, Witcher 3 was. Dragged it a couple of points, but overall was a fantastic experience in game. Arkham Knight? Nope. Can't say the same for Arkham Knight. Honestly, this is one of my biggest disappointments. It's not quite on maybe the level of disappointment as Evil Within was for me last year in 2014, but Arkham Knight was a huge disappointment because of how much I was anticipating it. Be a big fan of the Arkham games, and of course a huge fan of Batman. I very much wanted to get my hands on this game, and I was hoping for so much more. I don't know, I shouldn't get my hopes up on things anymore. I should have learned my lesson by now with disappointments after disappointments and problems with games, but I couldn't help it. It's Batman. I wanted to be really excited, especially with the lackluster Origins. I was expecting them to bounce back. Now, people are going to immediately ask, is this better than Origins? And I don't know. I don't think, honestly, I think I had more fun at large portions of Origins than I did during large segments of Arkham Knight. Now, there is good. The game plays well. There's no bugs or glitches that I ran into, except for a few minor things. I ran into one funny glitch relatively early on in the game that was pretty funny. But other than that, no bugs or glitches. It didn't crash on me, and there's some people that complain about crashing. And I'm not even going to speak about the PC debacle. I didn't play it on PC. Didn't plan on playing it on PC. It's inexcusable. The whole PC thing is absolutely inexcusable. I don't like the whole PC Master Race thing, and I kind of want to point and laugh, but at the same time, I do feel bad for people that legitimately spent the $60 on a game that doesn't work at all. I mean, that sucks. It doesn't matter who it is. That sucks. But on my end, PS4 version, no issues with that. For what the game does, it plays well. It does play fine. The complaints immediately, you probably already heard them, too much Batmobile. Holy crap. It's not too much. It's way, way, way too much. I want to say legit 70% of the game is Batmobile. Now, there are side missions in the game, but a big chunk of the main story mission that you're playing along is Batmobile related. Even some side quests. A lot of the side quests still include a ton of Batmobile. I had read prior to the game's launch, some people had said there was early reviews were saying a lot of Batmobile, but it's okay because the side quest, it isn't as much. I don't know what, very few side quests didn't include it in some way, pretty much. Anyway, and I mean, you're using the Batmobile, not just to drive around the city. You're using it for puzzle solving constantly. You can't advance more than 2 steps, it feels like at times, without getting the Batmobile. Do a small little battle against 3 or 4 guys, thugs, whatever. Oh, no, I can't go through this door. Now I need to work and get in the Batmobile all the way around here and get this. Oh, I need a Batmobile to light up, put electricity into this thing. I need a Batmobile to blow up this wall. I need a Batmobile to do this, that. You're platforming with it. You have to get it from point A to point B, constantly trying to get it up to different levels, working around, because even if you're not in the Batmobile, you can control it remotely. So almost every aspect of this game controls it. So if you really dig the Batmobile, you're going to love this game. What it feels like to me, what happened with designing it, is they came up with the idea early on that they wanted to put the Batmobile in to Arkham Knight. It was a highly requested feature, so they really wanted to put it in. I have a feeling, though, they realized pretty quickly it's still a lot more fun to just glide and use the hook shot and fly all around Gotham and look around the beautiful scenery. The game's so gorgeous to look at. And there's moments in this game where graphics, it shines beautifully in the whole dark atmosphere of Gotham. I have to say, it does look absolutely beautiful. So there's some really, really cool, awesome, amazing moments with the graphics of sliding and all that. But that's what's fun, is flying around, looking at everything in the city. Driving around on the streets in the Batmobile, it gets so boring so quickly. And you run into dead ends constantly, especially with these roadblocks, which is part of a side quest. You'll run into roadblocks constantly, or the bridges aren't down until you advance the main story to certain degrees. But you can glide anywhere you want in the city from the moment you start up the game, but you can't get the Batmobile half the places until you unlock certain parts of the story. So it's much, the damn Batmobile, once again, hinders, and is a major thing that you have to deal with. So it's mind-numbing how much the Batmobile is used. And I don't like joining bandwagons as far as, like, usually people say, okay, it's not that bad, right? Or when some people are like, oh, it's not that bad, I'm usually, oh my god, this thing's horrible. But I'm gonna say, any review that's saying it's way too much Batmobile, they're spot on. They're completely spot on. And it's monotonous, too. It's not just using the Batmobile in creative ways, you end up using it in the same ways. There's so many tank battles inside the Batmobile where you have to go in, and a lot of people complain about the controls of the Batmobile itself. I'm going to say I'm not one of the big complainers. There was a couple of moments, there's a particular boss late in the game, they pulled back the camera for the Batmobile, so it already kind of controls kind of like really loose. I don't know really the best term to use on this, but when they pulled the camera back, it was even more loose. But other than that, I didn't really have too much issue controlling it. And then you kind of go into all range mode with the damn Batmobile, where you can kind of move it on any grid. You just move it like a big, just move it all wherever. There's no driving, you're just moving it. Like, you can go anywhere you want with it. And you have to do that in order to engage really truly in battle against things. And you're fighting the same tanks over and over and over. I mean, I want to say, rough estimate, 20 to 25 tank battles where it's just you against 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 tanks in one fight. Now, you may do a fight and you may have another ally help you out during that particular fight with the tanks. And there's a couple of those where, allies helping you out with this. But they're not fun. They get so monotonous. One of the other cool things in the game is you can play. You can play as more characters in this than any of the other Arkham games. The issue here is, and actually during main story, not just talking about side DLC challenge map crap. I'm talking about in the game. But you can only play as those characters for very, very brief periods of time. Basically, you'll do one of the side missions, and when you fight a group of enemies, you can use the other character during that segment, and that segment alone. You can't then, you can't switch to Nightwing at any moment. You can only use Nightwing, who, I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as I can, but it's nearly impossible. Nightwing's in the game. Ooh. But anyway, you'll have him in, and then you can use him for a particular fight, and then the fight's over with. That's it. You go back to being Batman. Now, I get it. It's Batman. That's cool. But you have all these moments where you can play as these other characters. It would have been cool to see maybe more with that. Maybe have even in the main story. In the main story, I don't think you really change who you play as. I think you play as Batman throughout the main story quest the entire time, now that I'm thinking about it. And it's just in the side quest that it's there. And there's a decent variety. I'll get into, like I said, I'll get into spoiler territory in just a few moments. I don't want to drag this on too long. But the main story itself all revolves around the Arkham Knight and who is he, and it's this big militia thing, and it's hinted at very early on, and a longtime Batman fans, if you don't know who it is, you'll figure it out probably pretty quickly, or at least have a good guess. And whatever you think that good guess, you may be like, oh, that's too obvious, it couldn't be that. More than likely, that's the one. If you think about it, that's it. You'll probably get it pretty quickly. Like I said, I won't spoil that, no matter even when I get into the spoiler territory. Because honestly, the twist of all that with Arkham Knight, it doesn't really add anything different or anything to my dislike or like of the game. That has nothing to do with it. My biggest problems lie in the monotony of the Batmobile and the tank fights and just the overall boring gameplay. The combat, when you get to do it, is still fun and enjoyable. It's the same, almost exactly the same as Arkham City. I mean, they may have tweaked a few things here, maybe added one more move or one more thing here, but overall, it's still pretty much the same exact game as Arkham City as far as the combat goes. So most of all the new changes is in the Batmobile, and then they overuse the Batmobile so much that you end up hating the Batmobile. And just to put it quite frankly, you'll end up hating the Oh, great. What a surprise. I can't walk 2 more steps without Batmobile. Okay, thank you, Batmobile. Let me walk 2 more Batmobile. So you'll get to that point pretty quickly. So one of the shining moments, though, of other Arkham games was side mission content. So I was really looking forward to the side missions. And let me just say, wow. You had the potential to have so much amazing stuff here. But a lot of these side missions are either really short or like really like the same thing, like you do the same thing 5 times. And I know this isn't different. This is existed in like City. But even some of the side missions are a one-time deal, like you just go to a place and something happens. But they don't even involve, like, getting these other side villains, the ones that are side villains. Because there's a bunch of them that are just militia, more Arkham Knight militia crap. But the ones that involve the other side, the other rogue gallery of Batman's villains, all of them, with the exception of, honestly, one. There's one that is really cool and really an awesome, kind of thing to throw in there. But the other ones, even when they include cool villains, they're done so poorly, it comes down to a button press. Good example in gaming is if you played Fable 2, now this is a spoiler for Fable 2, you get to the end of the game, and everyone hated the ending to Fable 2 because you pressed one button, and that was it, the game was over, you shot the main villain. That's what you deal with a lot of these side missions, is there's no payoff. You don't even get a build-up. You go to point A, and press square or triangle or L1 or whatever it is. Boom. That's it. You've captured the rogue villain, throw him in the truck, and take him to the police station. It's like you have all these villains and all this potential to do something really cool with these side missions. And here, I'm going to get into, like I said, a little bit of the spoiler territory. Let me do this. I give the game, if I'm going to do it out of 10, because people always like to do things out of 10, I give it a 4. I judge the game harshly because of my disappointment factor and all that. That's why it's a 4. If it wasn't for being Batman and whatever, I think the game plays well enough to get like a 6. But, so I want to kind of end that. So if you don't want any spoilers, end the video now, and you'll be good. Okay, so everyone should be out who doesn't want spoiler territory. Like I said, I'm not going to reveal the Arkham Knight thing, but I do want to talk about specific rogue gallery of villains and some parts of the story I do want to get into. Okay. So, they include, like I said, they include a couple really, really cool villains that are in a part of this, including bringing Firefly back, Two-Face, and Penguin both return. They end up being really kind of like not mini games, but really kind of gimmicky side things. For example, all you do with Firefly is chase him in the Batmobile until he runs out of fuel, and you instantly then can pop out of the Batmobile and grab him. You do that 3 times at 3 different locations, and it's pretty much the same thing each time. He doesn't change what he does, he just is flying around a different part of the city. And that's it. Man-Bat is in the game. Very, very fucking cool, right? But all you do is you find Man-Bat flying around the city, you run into him and grab him, and then he runs off or whatever. You go find out who he is, so there is a little bit of change. You go to his lab and find out more about the character and all that. That was cool. But then the mission has 2 more parts, and both the other 2 parts are just find him and land on him again. There's no big boss fights. The boss fights are awful. I think there's like 1 or 2 boss fights in the entire game, and even them, they're like, basically one of the late boss fights with the Arkham Knight is very similar to the Deadshot battle that we dealt with in Arkham Origins. It's actually almost identical in many ways to that battle, so if you played Arkham Origins and did Deadshot's thing, it's pretty much going to be the big super boss fight in this game. It's very similar to that, so disappointing, but at least it was a fight. But number 1 fucking problem with this game, and this is my big thing, and this is my big spoiler. If you don't know, Scarecrow is kind of one of the main villains, is pretty much the main villain of the game. And anyway, there's no payoff. There's no payoff with Scarecrow. You remember Arkham Asylum had an amazing Scarecrow segments? You have no payoff with this game with Scarecrow. You don't get a big boss fight against him. You don't get anything with you. He is, once again, this game and series relies on similar ideas and story that they used, and relying way too heavy on one particular villain in the Batman universe, way too much, who we thought wouldn't be a part of this game, but well, guess what? He is. You'll find out, though. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the main plot. Not that it really matters, because you're probably not watching this if you don't want the spoiler part, because I told you not to. But, if you did, Joker. Joker's a major part of this game again, and I get it. He's extremely popular, and I love Joker. It's not against liking Joker, but there's so many issues with having him as a major part again. No, he's not. He died at the end. I'm not, of City. But it's still included here. So he was a part of Origins. He's a part of City. He's a part of Asylum, and he's part of Arkham Knight. It should have just been called the Joker trilogy or whatever. When you throw Origins in there, then it's a whatever. But still a major part of this whole thing, and he overshadows everything once again. Everyone else is pretty much crap in comparison to him, and it just kind of craps on all these other great, amazing Batman villains. I was pissed in Origins when Black Skull got completely destroyed because of everything that happened with Joker. So but okay, here's the most disappointing thing. Period. This is it. This is the big thing. This is what makes me I don't want to play the game anymore. You beat the main story of the game, you get no credits. You don't get credits for beating the game. Not that that's big a deal. You really want to sit through the credits, but usually credits signify you beat the game. However, after you beat the main story, you get, you mention, a final thing that happens. But in order to watch the cutscene, and I have confirmed it is a cutscene, I haven't watched it, but I have confirmed it's a cutscene. In order to get the final cutscene to truly end the game, you have to 100% it. You have to do all the side missions, which wouldn't be bad. Because some of them are cool. Like I said, there is a couple of particular ones that are cool, but most of them are kind of eh. But at least it's something else with the gameplay. I'm not shitting on side missions here, because they bring some of the only enjoyable content I had in this whole game. But the Riddler is back, of course, no surprise, and he has some really cool Riddler rooms if you're really into that, but also the Riddler trophies return. And there's 243 Riddler trophies. Way too many effing Riddler trophies. I get it. Some people love collectibles. That's cool. I'm not one of those people. And I feel like in order to, I do all this other stuff with Riddler, and I'm thinking I can make progress, and then in the end, you pretty much find out, no, in order to do the final thing with Riddler, you need to get all the trophies. Well, okay, that's cool. I get it. At least that's with Riddler. That's what happened in the other games. Fine. But in order to get the ending to the game, the final ending of the game, you have to also finish up Riddler, because you have to capture all the villains from around Gotham. And I don't have the patience to collect 243 items. That's way too many. I could deal with 100. I could deal with 100 collectibles in a game as big as Gotham, as big as Arkham Knight is with Gotham City. I can deal with 100. But 243, way pushing it, man. Way too much. That's pushing it way too fucking far. I get it. Some people, like I said, some people do like it, but to me, that's padding. There's already enough padding in this game with how many tank fights you have, with how monotonous the tank fights are, how, the tower, taking over the towers and the landmines you have to disable, and taking over, and get rid of the roadblocks. There's already a lot of padding and monotony in this game. To make it artificially longer, you do not need 243 collectibles. A person who likes collectibles would be just as satisfied getting 100 collectibles and getting to see the final ending of the game, than getting than going after the 243 of them. They're going to be just as happy as long as they got the same payoff. And then to hurt gamers who maybe don't have the time, or just aren't into collecting, because it's not any plot. It's just going and collecting all these things. And, they do like little gimmicks with them, where you have to solve sometimes little Riddler puzzles in order to get them. But after only a few of those, you get bored. You want to get back to the main plot and main story, or see something. I can imagine. I mean, unless I'm completely missing, there's a way to easily get them, or they're a lot easier than I think they are to get them, or all that, which I doubt. But even if there is all that, fine, maybe I'm wrong. But and you guys, anyone who watches up to this part of the video, you tell me down in the comments. Am I wrong? Like, is that oh, that's acceptable? 243. I'm glad. Whatever. Now I get it. Like I said, some people, they like collectibles. They like it. It adds a lot to the game. It keeps them playing it. To me, it kills it. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I'd rather not have. And I like trophy hunting and getting platinums and stuff like that. But that's a deterrent for me. That just, you're pushing me away. You should have had I could have dealt with 100 of them. I would have collected them. I would have probably complained about it a bit, but I would have actually done it and gotten to see the true ending of the game legitimately for myself. And it's just a cutscene, like I said, too. So maybe a little bit better than what you got in Origins for getting them all. But, man, just to see a 5-minute cutscene, and that's how long it is. Like I said, I didn't watch it, but I know how long it is. 5-minute cutscene. And that probably includes the credits. I don't even know. But after collecting 240 plus damn Riddler trophies. Anyway, guys. So like I said, 4 out of 10. I'm extremely disappointed with this game. You let me know down in the comments. I'm sure some of you will, or if anyone even watches this video. But you let me know, am I completely off the mark here with this game? Is the Batmobile so amazing that it makes up for taking up 70% of the game? Maybe I'm just an idiot. Whatever. Either way, thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.